Hello, this is Mrs. Taylor, and I'm going to show you how to add and subtract radicals. So, the key with adding and subtracting radicals is that you are looking for like radicals, because when the radical has the same radicand, which is the number inside, I can combine them, but if they don't have the same radicand, I can't. And so the idea is that we're creating an expression that's the same value. So if I plugged in values for all of the exponents, or I put it into my calculator, I get the same number no matter what form it was written in, but it's just in a more simplified form once I add and subtract. So the first thing I want to do when adding and subtracting radicals is to simplify my radicals. And so we're going to use, for 8, I'm going to use 4 and 2 as my factors. And 4 is a perfect square, so I don't have to factor anymore. I know that I can take the square root of 4 and make 2, pull that out, and then just have the 2 left inside. So 4 square root of 8 can be rewritten as 4, which was already out there, times 2, which is the square root of that 4, and then you have your square root of 2 left over. 50 I can factor using 25 and 2, and I can factor 50 other ways, but I chose 25 and 2 because 25 is a perfect square. And so I can rewrite this as 3, which was already outside, times the square root of 25, which is 5. And then this 2 is left inside. So when I multiply these numbers on the outside, I get 8 square root of... Well, that was the fire alarm, and I'm not really sure where I left off, so I'm just going to pick up where I've written right here. 4 times 2 is 8, and then you have the 2 left inside the radical. And then you have 3 times 5, which is 15, and then you still have the square root of 2. So once you have simplified each radical individually, you'll see that you now have a square root of 2 here and a square root of 2 here. So those are like radicals. Therefore, I can combine them. And you treat it like it's a variable. So when you combine, when you add, you don't change the radical. It just stays the square root of 2, just like if you're adding 2x and 3x. But you do, however, add the numbers out front of the radical. So 8 plus 15 is 23. Then you would have your square root of 2. So the simplified form of this expression is 23 square root of 2. And like I said earlier, if I put this into my calculator, 4 times square root of 8 plus 3 times square root of 50, and get a number, and then put 23 square root of 2 in my calculator, I should get the same number because the two expressions are equivalent. This is just the simplified form. And so that's how you would add radicals. Subtracting works the same way. Instead of adding 8 plus 15, if this was a minus sign, I would just do 8 minus 15. The rules are exactly the same. And so that's how you add and subtract radicals.